What's good, family? Back with another video. Now today I'm gonna be reacting to. Okay, so I've been hearing about this a lot, so I just want to do a reaction to it. I'm gonna give y'all my opinion on it. But it's 60% of men. I've heard this before, and it ain't really changed since 2020. Since the time this came out until 2025, it ain't really changed. So 60% of young men being single. It's a Joe Rogan podcast. So I'm gonna give y'all my opinion on it. So subscribe to the channel. Make sure on post notifications. Smash that like button up. Watch this video all the way through. I appreciate you. And make sure you comment down below. Engage with the video, y'all. Talk to me. Like, tell me what y'all think about what I'm doing so far. All right, let's go. That back a little bit, and let's get it.
Right. You know, it's really scary stuff because I read this statistic recently that said that there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30+% of women are single, but it's in the neighborhood of 60% of men.
Really?
Yeah, see if you can find
really high.
I know.
And what age group?
Really high. It's 18 to 49 or something.
Oh wow.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's young men.
It's a shockingly high.
Mixed.
And I don't. Tell me if this is true, y'all. I ain't got nothing here to look it up right now. But actually, let me see if I can Google it, because I'm curious to know, like, okay, if 60%, are there more women in the world than there are men? That's my question. More. So the global population is nearly balanced in the world. So I know this 60% had to have came from America. And I know in America, like, there's more women in America than there are men. So I'm curious to know, how does that balance itself out? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Sense, like, why there is such disparity between the genders, that men are so much more single than women. Like, that doesn't even jive. How does that like, how makes sense? Most men are single, most young women are not.
Maybe the guys are just saying they're single, and all the girls are like, we're in a relationship.
There actually is an answer to this, though, right? And I don't want to. Okay, so feminism actually kind of gave the answer to this. Like, if you think about it, the standard that men have been set in society to reach is becoming unobtainable almost in a way, right? It's becoming more and more impossible in American society, specifically, for the men to reach these accolades. Like $1 million in the 1960s, 30s, 1900s is a lot more than $1 million today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, housing prices have went up, food prices have gone up, car prices have gone up. It's almost impossible to have a one check household, right? But it's possible, but it's getting to a point where it's getting more complicated to do that, and it's needed another person, and that standard of a man being a provider is starting to go away. So I think that's kind of what it is that's making a lot of these men single, because these women have this somewhat expectation of what they think men are supposed to be, and that expectation just ain't the same in this generation. And I don't know, but a lot of women have more options, because a lot more men will be willing to date whatever kind of women they want, whereas women aren't willing to date every kind of man. They want to date a man that has specifically the things that they need. And I also heard that almost, like, I think half of it's more than that. I think it's like the average salary in America is between $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Y'all look that up and I'll see what y'all say about that. But I think all that ties into the reason why men are single. But let's keep listening.
Relationship is just a research, right? So it's just a survey, I would imagine. 30% of U.S. adults are neither married, living with a partner, nor engaged in a committed relationship. Nearly half of all young adults are single. 34% of women and a whopping 63% of men. Like, wow. How does that work? How does it work if there's roughly 50% women, 50% men? How could 34% of women be single and 63% of men be single? It says, not surprisingly, the decline in relationships matches a stride with the decline in sex. The share of sexually active Americans stands at a 30-year low. Around 30% of young men reported in 2019 that they had no sex in the past year, compared to about 20% of young women. Only half of single men are actively seeking relationships or even casual dates, according to Pew. That figure is declining. What if, like, the women thought...
Wow, so like it basically just said men aren't even seeking relationships at this point. So maybe I could backtrack a little bit on what I said earlier. If men aren't even seeking the relationships, then wow, that and it makes sense. Like I said again, these expectations that these women have nowadays, it's unobtainable. Like the same things that our fathers were able to do are not the same things that the fathers in this generation can do. It's not the same, man. Buying a house back in the day, I remember. I think it was, I can't remember who this was who told me this, but he was telling me that his dad bought a house for $50,000, 4-bedroom house for $50,000 back in the day. That ain't going. Like I'm in Ohio, and I know in Ohio a 4-bedroom house is $200,000 easy. Easy, like $150,000, $200,000 easy. Like there's no way you getting a house for $50,000 with 4 bedrooms. Like ain't no way. Like yeah, but I don't know. It's stuff like that. I think that's what's making the environment, like the expectations from women and things like that. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Let's keep listening.
They're in a relationship and the guys are like, right. Yeah, that's what we could say. Yeah, that you could say that, or maybe the women aren't being honest. Maybe they've gone on a date with a guy and they decide that's their boyfriend. I don't know.
I think the more shocking thing is just that more in general are single. Less people are having sex and are engaged in meaningful, long-term relationships. I think that's, there's just an increasingly, I feel like we're becoming more atomized. Like you're just kind of get lost in your world, and you get these pseudo communities popping up. Like if I'm a Bored Ape Yacht Club member, I could call, I might say those guys are my brothers. But are they really? Like what are these new internet communities doing right? And what are they not really replacing in the real world? Because basically that's what we've done. We've replaced a lot of physical things with online things, and sometimes that replacement works. Like I can kind of, but sometimes it doesn't. Like I can FaceTime with my mom, and it's like kind of the same. But it's not really. It's a little annoying.
I disagree with his analysis on it. I don't think that it has anything to do with the groups that exist in social media that are making people like that people are finding in order to find meaning. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it really just has everything to do with the economics in the society, the standards of the society, the social norms that we consider social norms. I think people are going so far away from those social norms, and us going so far away from those social norms, we have to find a way to balance out what's coming new. Like, I mean, right now, a 2-person working household is what's needed right now, right? Having kids sometimes, having too many kids, it's just not easy. It's not easy to have too many kids. A lot of women's standards, some of them are a little too high. A lot of men's standards, somewhat are becoming a little too high. I mean, I think it's a balance of just what society has left this generation with, and now what this generation has to deal with. And I think I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with the groups. I think groups actually somewhat help the situation. I think we need more of that. We need more men's groups. We need some women's groups too. But we need groups that actually make people feel more alive. And I think that would bring people more together in a relationship if we had groups that were telling people realistic expectations on how to view a relationship. But I don't know. Listen.
It's a little annoying, right? And they're getting better at it. But it's always kind of like this facsimile of the real thing. And so I think this replicated AI is it's sort of this it's trying to treat loneliness in people. Yeah. Maybe you could, that's the nice way of looking at it. But it's pretty dystopian, man.
It is dystopian, and one of the things I think accelerated it was the lockdowns, right? So for especially people that had a lot of anxiety, there was people that went a year plus without being in contact with other people other than their immediate family members. And so then they seek more time online, they're online more, and at the same time, this AI-generated 3D image of a person is communicating with you. Just that.
But here's the thing, I agree with Joe Rogan I think Joe Rogan's point is tied to something else, right? I think it's tied to, the lockdown definitely probably accelerated a little more of people being more single, but I think this was happening Because if you go, I think it was 2018, there was another study done like this, where it was saying like it was like 53%, like it was like 53%, 56%, something like that, and like the number has consistently grown. It's consistently grown, like, and I don't know. I think that the lockdowns may somewhat have. I agree with them on a level of acceleration, but I think this has been happening for a while, and I think that we just need to change the standards on how everybody sees things in society. Like, I think that's what'll make it better for men and for women too. You know.
And then the rise of like parasocial relationships. You know, people watch. Yeah. People watch so much of online people. They think they know you, and they don't. But they feel like you're their friend rather than them having like online I was hanging out with a few friends. And, you know, they got approached by some people, and these guys, like, felt like they knew them. Like, they're like, oh, we know you. Like, I love all your stuff. And what do you think about, they're asking me about one of their friends, like, what do you think about when this guy did that? And I'm thinking, like, this guy doesn't know you. Like, right. But it's a strange thing where that's our new world.
Okay. Oh, snap. Stop. Okay. So I think there's nothing wrong with that though. There's nothing wrong with looking up to people and finding people online that you can relate to. There's nothing wrong with that. I really don't know, man. I'm gonna do more videos like this to give y'all more of an answer on it, because I do feel like I got a lot to say about this. Like, why men are afraid. This is the next one. Is why men are afraid to talk to women. That'd be interesting. But yeah, like. I'm gonna give y'all more on this, because I do wonder that. I do want to figure it out. I'm gonna dive deep into it, but I really feel like men are just starting to go their own way, almost, in a way, you know. I think there's a lot more narcissistic women too. I think that's happening now, but I think there's also a lot of narcissistic. I don't know, like I don't know if there's a lot of narcissistic men. Anyways, y'all, you know what to do. Hey, I'm gonna give y'all another reaction. In a little bit. I'm gonna drop these tonight, so just be ready for it. So yeah.